All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Rainmaker Training and Coaching. I'm John Dietz. Grateful to be here with you and having conversations with lots of real estate agents, which is what I do every day. And there's a common theme. And the common theme is we're struggling, we're fighting, things are not easy, things are hard. And life is adversity. That song got played in my home every day for a year between 2015 and 2016 when Lacey was fighting non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and that little girl at the age of 15 embodied the "This Is My Fight" song. To this day, she's my hero. And every time I listen to that song, I think about her and I think about you guys. And I did some research this morning on what I wanted to talk to you about. I'm going to be sharing with you from two different books, Jack Canfield, The Success Principles, and Andy Andrews, The Noticer. And I'm going to jump right in, and I'm going to talk to you about a gentleman by the name of Stephen Cannell. Now, a lot of you don't know who that is. That's fine. Google it. Last name is spelled Cannell. And here goes. Stephen failed first, fourth, and 10th grades. He couldn't read and comprehend like other kids in his class could. He would spend 5 hours with his mother studying for a test, and then he would fail it. When he asked his friends who got an A how long he had studied for the test, he replied, "I didn't." Stephen concluded that he just wasn't intelligent. But I simply decided, as an act of will, this is Stephen talking to the author as he's interviewing Stephen. So Jack Canfield is interviewing Stephen, and here's what Stephen had to say about the whole thing. He said, "I simply decided as an act of will to put it out of my mind." He told me, "I simply refused to think about it. Instead, I focused my energies on what I was good at." And that was football. Now, I don't just love this story because it's football, which helps. I do love it because of that. I love it because I'm hearing somebody at a young age make a decision that he was not going to focus on what he wasn't good at. He was going to focus on the gifts that God had gave him. And I hear real estate agents talk to me like this all of the time about what they're not good at. And I want to jump in and say, tell me what you are good at. Stop telling me what you're not good at and tell me what you are good at. Because here's what I know, no matter who you are, God gave you talents. You want to do some research on that? Get into the book of Matthew and read the parable on the talents. Means a lot. All right, I'm off the pulpit. I'm back in the book. If it hadn't been for football, which I excelled at, I don't know what would have happened to me. I got my self-esteem from playing sports. Now, I can resonate with this story because it's my life. School was hard. I did really, really bad. At a very early age, I came to the conclusion that I wasn't smart. I couldn't read like the other kids. I wasn't going to do as well as they could. And on top of all of that, I was born into poverty and abuse. And this is the life that I have. It's a lottery ticket. I've got a losing lottery ticket. Why am I here? Football saved my life. At the age of 15, I found something that I was good at. I was good at football, finally, thank God. And I still look back at what I learned from playing football, something that I was good at, and I use the lessons that I learned back then in my life today. So you're hearing Stephen's story, you're hearing my story. I don't know what would have happened to me. I got my self-esteem from playing sports. Putting all of his energy into football, he earned interscholastic honors as a running back. From football, he learned that if he applied himself, he could achieve excellence. All of us can achieve excellence. You can achieve excellence. Later, he was able to transfer that belief in himself to his career, which oddly enough turned out to be writing scripts for television. Eventually, he formed his own production studio where he created, produced, and wrote over 350 scripts for 38 television shows, including The A-Team, The Rockford Files, Beretta, 21 Jump Street, The Commish, Renegade, and Silk Stockings. At the height of his studio career, he had over 2,000 people on his payroll. And if that isn't enough, after he sold his studio, he went on to write 11 best-selling novels. Stephen is a prime example of the fact, it's not an opinion, it's a fact, that it is not what life hands you, but how you respond to it mentally and physically that matters most. In the book, The Noticer, Jones, who's this incredible character that Andy Andrews talks about throughout this book, buy this book, read this book if you haven't already. He's visiting with Willow Calloway, and Willow Calloway is this older woman who's living in her latter years. Her children have passed, her husband has passed, and in her mind, she's reached a point in her life where she has outlived her usefulness. Now listen to the conversation between Jones and Willow Calloway and ask, how does this apply to me? How does this apply to the story about Stephen? Because it does. Pay attention. We are so caught up in fear and regret that hope seems a foolish endeavor. Anybody there? Talking to one of my real estate clients yesterday who is at a really low point. And this is a very successful agent who has closed tens of millions of dollars in real estate sales. And because the real estate market has shifted and the way he's done business in the past isn't working today. And he's on a 2-year slide and he's feeling the weight of the world on top of him. He is frozen in fear, deer in the headlights. He's looking at that phone, knowing, okay, I need to change the way I do things in order to get to a better result. And I know I need to get on this phone and I need to start making calls. But I'm looking at this phone and it weighs 10,000 pounds. I can't pick it up and make the next call. I just got to make one call and I can't do it. And I finally got to a point where I told him, listen to me, here's all you need to do. Every single person you talk to, who do you know is thinking of selling their home? Start with that. Pick up the phone, call total strangers. Who do you know that's thinking of selling their home? I promise you the 10th call will be easier than the first call. The 100th call will be easier than the 10th call. And this really awesome thing is going to happen. You're going to have people tell you, I am. And you're going to have leads. They're going to lead to listings because all you did was pick up the phone when you just can't imagine picking up the phone because you are just buried in fear and you have no hope. However, it is not only possible, it is an overlooked law of the universe. He's talking about proof of hope. Proof of hope is not only a fact, it's not only possible, it is a universal law. Every one of us is always in crisis, coming out of crisis, or headed for crisis. That's just part of being on this planet. Your very breath provides authentic and infallible absolutes that cannot be disputed. Here, my friend, and this is Jones talking to Willow Calloway. He says, "Here, my friend, even during what you may consider the worst time in your life is proof of hope." Incidentally, this proof is genuine regardless of a person's age, physical condition, financial situation, color, gender, emotional state, or belief. If you are breathing, you are still alive. If you are alive, then you are still here, physically on this planet. If you are still here, then you have not completed what you were put on earth to do. If you have not completed what you have been put on earth to do, that means your very purpose has not yet been fulfilled. If your purpose has not been fulfilled, then the most important part of your life has not yet been lived. And if the most important part of your life has not been lived, the most important part of your life is ahead of you, then even during the worst times, one can be assured that there is more laughter ahead, more success to look forward to, more children to teach and help, more friends to touch and influence. It is your proof of hope. Joan of Arc. Life ended by being burned at the stake. Now, do you know what the last words she said before she died? It's documented. Google it. Do you know what her last words were? Her last words were, "Lift it higher." Before she died, lift it higher. What was she referring to? She was referring to the person who was standing in the crowd, holding a cross, asking them, lift it higher. She wanted to be able to see it because even at the moment where her life was ending, she had proof of hope. Now, it wasn't hope for what she would accomplish on earth. It was hope for what her life would be after she no longer lived on earth. It was an eternal proof of hope. Lift it higher. All right, talk to me, guys.